All right. How's everyone doing? I'm doing well. I'm blessed to be here. Blessed to be able to make this video. Blessed to be able to have a voice at all. Blessed that I have a mind of my own to speak my mind about whatever it is that's going on in this world. Lately, my mind has been riddled with, I wouldn't call them puzzles or conundrums or anything like that, but just the regular everyday thoughts. Regular everyday thoughts that I have. You know, living, trying to make it the best way I can. The best way I can that I can still look myself in the mirror and be proud of who I am. Because that's important. A lot of people, they don't care about who they are. You know what I mean? There'll be anybody that the world needs them to be. Even if it has nothing to do with or is anywhere close to their core of who they really are or who they truly are. I've known people and I've seen so many people who sold their souls for clout. You know what I mean? I've seen so many people be so fake. I got a friend who is in dire need of, and I'm not going to mention any names, but I have a friend that's in dire need of, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Structure in his life. Right? We all could use a little bit of structure. Right? What I've noticed is the people that's around him, they don't really care about his well-being. Right? And it's funny because a lot of our relationships are like that, or at least the ones that we don't want to keep around. You know, there's so many people that I could think of in my past, you know what I mean, that I had to let go. Because they just didn't understand. And it's all right because really it wasn't for them to understand. That's the thing. Everything isn't for everybody to understand. And that's quite all right. It's quite all right. There's more than actually quite. You know what I mean? Shoot, I wish more people didn't understand me. But people do understand because it's not just a thing. We're all unique to our own aspects. But to the general point, people mostly understand what I'm talking about. But let's get back on topic. I have a friend and, you know, we've been friends for a while. Yeah, I would say. Things are good. Things were good. I noticed that he started to go down a path of drugs. And, you know, not to sound like a square or anything like that. Drugs aren't cool, man. What the hell is a square anyway? You know what I mean? I never wanted to be in the box anyway. I always wanted to think outside the box. But, you know, I used to drink. I used to do all types of things like that. And my life is better. It's better right now because of the fact that I stopped doing all those things. I eat healthy. I work out. I read. You know what I mean? I do all the things that not necessarily we're supposed to do, but things that help me stay on course. You know what I mean? I don't allow myself to be riddled with the, I guess you would say, emotional ties, distractions, those type of things. I don't really let my life be ruled by a lot of the things that I used to as a young man. And I still am a young man. I will always be young, forever young. I want to be forever young. But back to the friend. He has so many people around that are kind of like yes men, yes women. They'll say yes to everything. He's never wrong about anything, and he's just who he is. You know what I mean? And honestly, I'm that guy or I'm that friend that tells them about himself. I tell them about himself all the time, right? What I'm learning in life is that nobody really wants to hear about themselves, right? What's the saying? It's a saying about a man will gladly pay back revenge. Excuse me if I'm slandering it. It's something about a man will gladly pay back revenge, but gratitude is like it's something along those lines. Gratitude is something that men or people hate to like basically give back, but revenge they love to give it back. So basically, to stay on topic, this friend I tell him about his stuff all the time. He thinks that, or this friend thinks that the things that he used with his others will work on someone like me, you know, and those things, you know, I can't go for that. To quote Hall and Oates, I can't go for that. And it's a lot of things that he tries to like get over with. You know, he actually owes one of my friends money. That's the one thing that I would say do not do is to ask people for money. You know, and don't ask anybody for money that can't ask you for money. Don't ever ask for anybody for anything that you would not do for them or they would not do for you. You know what I mean? So these are some of the rules that I live by. I won't ask somebody to do something for me that I would not expect myself to do for them. And if you can live by those rules, you'll be all right. You know what I mean? Because that goes a long way with a lot of the things that we do in life. But this friend, he likes to guilt trip too. And it's never a good thing to guilt trip anybody about anything. And it's not even like he can guilt trip me with anything because we don't even see each other that much. You know, once I straighten my life out, and not to say that his life's crooked, you know, pun intended. But ever since I stopped drinking and stuff, you know, working out and everything, you know, you start to kind of shed those other faces, I guess, or those other identities or parts of yourself that don't really correlate with where you're trying to go or what you're trying to do. And so I'm fine with that, you know, that we don't speak as often as we used to. You know, I'm trying to do my own thing and I'm trying to be who I am, who I've always been, and not get lost in the sauce with what everybody else want me to be. You know what I mean? Because as men, we find ourselves all the time caught up in these situations where we have to be what everybody else thinks we should be. We have to do what everybody else thinks we should do in these situations. But the thing about it, and it's talking about this is for grown men, young men, kids, boys to men, old men. You got to do what's best for you sometimes. I know we're supposed to be these providers and we're supposed to be knights in shining armor and things like that. But when it comes down to your mental health, your physical health, your soul, sometimes you have to take care of yourself. You cannot be anything for anybody if you cannot be who you need to be for yourself. So excuse all the faces and the social identities and everything that we have to be for everybody. If you cannot be who you are for yourself, you cannot be anything for anybody. Start from square one. You know, when you start to lose yourself, when you don't know where you're going, you don't know if the next step forward is the step or the direction that you're supposed to be going in. You have to take a step back and sit by yourself for a while and think about what you've been doing. I've had to do this numerous times. Numerous times I've done this. My whole life I've been doing this since I was a child. Right? And I'm just now starting to really realize the fact that I've been doing this. And the fact that I'm so good at doing it now is because I've been practicing. Everything is practice. Over time, practice. You know? Nobody ever starts phenomenal. Nobody ever starts great. These things come with time. Everything comes with time. And I know we all want to be there. I know that we all want to get to where we're going. But you got to remember that the journey, that's really what it's all about. You know what I mean? Because when we get to the end, it's over. And then we'll be looking for the next thing to do. This is how we do with everything. You get that new car. You know what I mean? Now that you got it, you really felt most of it like when you first got it, and then it's like, all right, now I got the car. Now the car is just another thing that you have. When you get that system or that GTA, when GTA 6 come out, we all excited. We've been waiting. We've been waiting so long. It's like the episode of Rick and Morty when they came to the other planets and they had the thing was coming down, the slide, the entrance ramp for them to come down. They thought, oh, it has to go real slow for the anticipation. That's kind of what life is, right? But the anticipation is like, I guess, kind of like the best part. You know, studies show like when we're gambling and stuff like that, our peak levels are when we're the deciding factor, right there in the middle, right there when, oh, am I going to win or am I going to lose? Oh yeah, someone say, yeah, I'm super excited when we win or when we win, or you know, but the stray away from that, because that's another thing too that you shouldn't do. But you know, I'm not here to tell you what you should or you shouldn't do. You know, I'm just here to put my, I guess you call it, 2 cents. I give you $1. You know what I mean? If you want to listen. But and excuse me for getting off topic and stuff. I got a lot of things that I want to talk about, you know, and I think that's part of the reason why this is like my first video, my first real video of talking and stuff like that, because it's just that thing where, oh, what am I going to talk about? What is this video going to be about? And then I decided, why not just let this video be what it is? It's whatever is going to be discussed today. Whatever's going around. You know, we got so much stuff going on. We got so much things that we want to do. So many people that wants our time, you know. I made time for this today. I'm going to continue to make time for this. And I hope that, you know, whoever watches this will make time to, you know, stick it out with me. I'm only going to get better, and hopefully you and my audience will get better with me as each day go by, you know, because it's not a competition with the next guy or the other one or anything like that. It's about the competition with yourself. It's always about the competition with yourself. That's what you got to remember. None of this stuff on social media, anything like that, it doesn't matter. None of this stuff matters. Because you're really not seeing what their life is really like. You're only seeing what they want you to see. And this is how it goes. Nobody really knows what anybody's life is really like. And that's because we're not supposed to. All these streamers and stuff like that, we're like on them 24/7. Honestly, it's kind of like, you know, it's like we don't even have to be lab rats. You know what I mean? We don't have to be lab rats. We don't have to be in a lab or kept prisoner or anything like that, because we put surveillance on ourselves 24/7. Where's the personal time? Well, anyway, and forgive me. This is just the first video. It's kind of an introduction, but back to that friend, wherever I was at. He's just that type of guy that has all these people around him that do not really, I'm not going to say deserve, because I guess we kind of get what we deserve in a certain sense. But he has all these people around him. None of these people really care about him. They're only really there for that clout. You know what I mean? They feel like they get some type of something by association. And I know these people aren't really his friends because they really do not care about his well-being. You know what I mean? And me, as being a friend, you know, I want to help him, but I realize sometimes the best way to help people is to let them see themselves. People don't really want to hear you say, "Oh, you doing this, you doing that." People don't really want to hear that. You know what I mean? And if they do, they don't really want to hear it from you. They want to hear it from themselves. So I'm not about to be that guy, you know, throwing this book and throwing this method and stuff at anybody. You know, I will throw my ideas up, and if you want to grab them and take them for yourself, that's good for you. If you want to leave them there or hand them to the next, that's also an option. Do what you will. You know, that's one thing about this life that we live. It's our lives to live. Same thing with subscribing. I would love for you to subscribe. Therefore, that when I do post, and I plan on posting very frequently, you know, more than I don't want to just be talking about it. I don't want to just be that guy that talks about starting this or doing that. I want to be the guy that's that guy. I'm that guy. You know? And you can be that guy too. We're all that guy or that gal. You know? But to end a short/long story, this friend of mine, I hope he gets what he's looking for. I hope that, you know, God helps him. I hope that he also helps himself. You know what I mean? That he can see through the fake, see the real for the real. You know what I mean? And hope that he gets better. Hope that we all get better. God bless. Stay tuned for more videos. This has been a beautiful time. I enjoy speaking, and I hope that you enjoy listening. Jacoby out. Till next time.